mistakes do groom make when it comes to their wedding?
You have to live up to that benchmark.
So what exactly are clients paying when they are paying for the creativity?
Indian designers are successful and relevant because they did not subscribe to this signature craziness.
Basic investments should bride and groom do?
If you have the right kind of body and the right kind of occasion to wear that.
Should a bride opt for timeless pieces or trendy pieces?
40% we still have to take into consideration the silhouette because of the variety of body types that are in India.
कौन से colors generally अच्छे लगते हैं, pictures में? The next one is one go-to outfit that works for every festive occasion. And if you could solve one fashion problem in the world today, what would it be? Fashion is always seen as fabrics, silhouettes, and trends. But in a world that chases speed and mass appeal, he slows down, he listens, he observes the human behind the hanger. For him, design is not created in isolation, but it is born at the intersection of craft, consumer, and conscience. He firmly believes that human element is not optional in fashion, but it is the soul of this industry. With that, welcome to Unscripted with Shah, powered by Shankus Season 2. I'm truly excited to welcome a designer who's redefining how we think about fashion today. So please help me welcome Mr. Bhavin Trivedi. Hello sir, welcome to the show. Please have a seat.
Thank you.
Hi Bhavin, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
So how was your day?
Well, so far so good.
Okay, so today's episode is going to be very close to my heart because I've always used fashion and designing as my language of self-expression, right? And today I'm sure through this podcast a lot of people are going to have some insightful conversation that we are going to have today. So Bhavin, what does fashion really mean to you?
I would say that fashion, the easiest way to literally show the world who exactly you are. The easiest form of self-expression is fashion. You don't have to use words, you don't have to draw pictures, you don't have to do anything. You just have to be yourself and the world knows exactly who you are. How much easier can that be?
Yeah.
So I think that kind of sums up what fashion is.
Definitely, that's very rightly said. Yeah. Even I have the same definition for fashion.
There we go.
Yes. So what gaps have fashion filled for you and can fill for other people as well?
The biggest gap, as in if it had not been for fashion, I would probably be unemployed, jobless, aimless, taskless, whatever you call it. There is probably the only thing I can do in my life is fashion.
Right.
So if it was not for fashion, so it originally started with art. I was more art inclined, and maybe it would be an exaggeration to say I would be unemployed, because then I would be in some or the other form of applied art, but fashion took that place. So when I found fashion, everything else went out the window. Then it was just fashion for me. So now whatever it became, it filled the space, as you put it. It filled a gap so wide that now everything that tries to come into it somehow or the other gets translated into fashion. If I watch a movie, I like to watch the 1940s, 50s film noir. So whatever I watch there gets translated into my fashion. If I listen to music, it gets translated into my fashion.
So it gets translated into fashion in sense of designs?
Yeah, of course.
The color palette and everything.
Color palettes, the styling, the silhouette, the cuts, the details, all of it. Everything is inspired by something or the other, some element of my life, and it all goes into fashion. So yeah, the biggest gap in my life is filled.
Also, how does fashion fill that gap in other people's lives?
Everyone has an ego and an alter ego.
Right.
You as Shah are a very beautiful person as a human being, and you look upon yourself as something. When you are doing Unscripted, then you become the host of a TV show. So for a lot of people, this transition from being something to being something else is difficult, sometimes impossible, sometimes it comes naturally, but it differs from person to person. So like I said, fashion is the easiest way of self-expression. It may not always be so easy for everyone. So that gap of changing from being something to being something what you must be, or what you want to be, or what you have to be. More importantly, what you want to be.
Right.
That is what is important.
Yeah.
So you are something. You are Kenasha. You know you are pretty. Everyone tells you you are pretty all the time. But then, when you are playing a role, when you are being a bridesmaid, when you are being the host of Unscripted, when you are being an entrepreneur who is looking for investors, at every time you are a different person.
Exactly.
How many times will you change your alter ego on your own?
Yeah.
That is the space which fashion can feel for you. And a person who understands fashion, who has had experience over the years, that person can come to your help. That
Yeah.
you just have to go and tell them, well, these are the roles I play in life.
Yeah.
And this is where I need some guidance or
Yeah.
help or products or whatever.
Yeah.
And well, fashion comes to your rescue.
Thank you for putting this so beautifully, Like, has definition of fashion changed over the years for you, or has it just been, rooted into the emotions?
If we speak about fashion in general,
Yeah.
fashion per se, yes, has changed over decades.
Okay.
But the definition of fashion, no, that has not changed for anyone, not for me, for anyone else. If fashion as we know it can be dated back, way back into the Egyptian civilization, whether consciously or unconsciously, we have been following fashion.
Right.
And over more than 1,000 years, the fashion has changed, but the definition has not. And when it comes to me, whether it has been rooted in emotion, yes, definitely. Unless whatever you create, unless it comes from some deep-rooted emotion, whether you feel for your design, or you feel for your client, or you feel for your resources, your inspiration, before every creation, you really have to feel very deeply. So yes, fashion will always remain deeply rooted emotionally only. Only then I can justify my design. Only then can I understand the need of my client. If I do not, Kina comes to me and she comes to me asking for the most perfect attire for a talk show, or the most perfect attire for a bride's sister,
right,
or herself a bride. Unless I start thinking like what Kena would be thinking at that moment, I cannot design for Kena. So yes, it will always have to be deeply rooted emotionally. Yes.
That's true. So understanding clients' need will always be a first preference.
The biggest inspiration, yes.
Yeah.
All inspiration begins from what are your clients' aspirations? You know, when you look into their eyes, when they are expressive, when they describe what they have in mind, it actually gives you so many ideas. Of course, then the design per se may be inspired by Royal Indian designs or flora and fauna, or it can be inspired by gardens, or it can be inspired by folk tales or mythology or anything. But the spark of the inspiration always comes from the client's aspiration.
Yeah.
What is the client asking for?
Yes. Because nowadays client knows, like what do I want, what do I not want, the color preferences. They feel that they know everything,
yes,
and they have certain choices that they have made in mind.
True. So this is more like the dice may roll anyway kind of a situation.
Yeah.
Sometimes it becomes a problem. You know, I mean, I don't blame the clients, or I'm not judging them in any way, but we are so influenced and we are so overcome by information from all around us, as in social media, advertisements, everything is constantly telling you how exactly you should be. And human beings per se, all of us, you, me, all of us, we are all suggestible. So when there is something that is constantly telling you what you should be, it starts with you believing them, and you believe in them so strongly that you start believing in yourself in believing them. So sometimes, clients knowing exactly what they want may not always be the right thing, but well, as professionals, as experienced professionals, we have to make room for that.
So what is the biggest lie young designers, believe when it comes to making it big.
The biggest lie a young designer and upcoming designer would believe is to endorse somebody's definition of what is big. That is the biggest lie that they would believe in. I may say the biggest thing is to participate in the New York or Milan Fashion Week.
Yeah.
Or, I may say the biggest achievement would be to participate in Lakme Fashion Week. Or I would say the biggest achievement of a designer is to have a chain of stores across India or across the world. Now I have a store in Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi. Next year we will be in New York and then in Los Angeles. So I'm big. This is a lie.
Yeah.
You can have 50 stores and you could still not be the biggest designer of all times. Or you could be just working out of one small studio where you are doing beautiful products, but you are being so true to yourself, where you are being so true to expressing what you really want to do and doing for the client what the client really needs for himself or herself. To some, that could be big, that when I've designed something for Kena and the happiness, the smile that brings on Kena's face. I have had clients whose parents have cried when the bride steps
beautiful.
out of the trial room. The parents cry. Like, I'm not being dramatic or figurative. They physically cry. They actually cry. That this is amazing. Okay, I have gone to so many different places and my daughter kept on disapproving of everything. And now look at her. This is so beautiful. I think that is big.
Yeah, because I also feel sometimes looking at the upcoming designers, I feel some of the designers feel that एक collection बना दिया, celebrity या influencer को दे दिया, then the story does not end there. It's just the beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah, that doesn't define your big, the next big.
Very true. See, the way you put it, they make a collection, they are following the right direction. Every designer making a collection to begin with should be the goal. That is how you enter the market. Don't enter the market with single orders or doing customized work and then hoping to be big sometime, because that way you will be so engrossed in fulfilling your orders, you would probably never be able to compile something that expresses you as you.
Yeah.
So if you want to begin as a designer, begin with a collection. Take some time, but begin with a collection. The influencers thing which you put, it's a very successful method of promotion.
Yeah.
Launching this one collection is the right way of doing it. Putting both of these two things together. The designer has made a collection. The designer has hired the right kind of agency. They have showcased on the right kind of platform. But after having done that, it comes with a lot of things attached.
Yeah.
Once you have hired the most influencing influencer that can ever be, then you will have to live up to that expectation. You have set a benchmark for you. And then you must be prepared that you have to live up to that benchmark with every single collection. The reason why most young designers feel burnt out, they feel lost, they feel frustrated, is because they don't realize this when they choose their method of promotion or their scale of promotion. They start believing that if I enter the market with a bag, that Kena Shah, the label, and Malaika Arora is wearing my clothes, and Hrithik Roshan is wearing my clothes, and now they have entered with this fanfare. हो गया, उनका भी job है, it's their job to promote apparels. What you are doing is you are providing employment to other professionals. You are not being true to yourself. If you are true to yourself, I am sure the influencers who are taking money to promote your outfits will come looking for you just because you are good.
Yeah.
And it will happen. Trust me, it will happen. If you have put your heart and soul into your product, that is the way to go.
Yeah.
And then everything else works out on its own.
Yeah. And it's also important to learn to say no. Every time it is required,
Yes. At so many times. And not just learn to say no, not just to promotions, but to a lot of things, sometimes to yourself also.
Yes.
As a designer, when we are small, when we started, there are a lot of temptations that come your way.
I
You
agree.
feel you
Last
see a
minute
certain
order, le lo, kar lo.
Karlu.
Yes.
So many things, especially since we are talking about promotions already. Most of the times what happens is Bhavin and Kena have started their business at the same time. Now Bhavin sees that Kena is becoming successful faster
Yeah.
than I am. Or if not successful, at least popular.
Yeah.
Kena is becoming popular faster. I feel so tempted to do exactly what Kena does, you know. That's a huge pitfall.
Yeah.
I cannot be Kena. What worked for Kena would not necessarily work for me, you know.
1000%.
So please say no to yourself at a
Yes.
time like this. So yeah, these are just two examples that come to mind. But
Yeah.
yes, I strongly agree with you, Kena, that the young entrepreneur has to draw a line, that this is a line which I will not cross. They will have to say no to many things, and the sooner they learn that, really the better for them, you know. At least they will not burn out fast.
Definitely, yeah. What is that one misunderstood thing about designers that people don't understand?
One, there is so many. I could just go on and on about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I have to say the one biggest thing that is misunderstood about designers is a layperson or a consumer tends to put all designers in a certain category. As in, if you aspire to a certain A-list designer,
Yeah.
and then who you are visiting is not an A-list designer, you know, they are probably a B-list designer or a local designer who is not even made it to the B-list yet. Your expectations from that designer is something that you would expect from an A-list designer. See, when it comes to creativity,
Right.
I believe designers can be categorized, but when it comes to services, when it comes to, you know, brand value, a customer cannot expect everything from every designer. There are designers who are internationally famous, so their services,
The niche would be different.
their niche
The
would
way
be
of working
everything.
would be
Everything
different. Their
associated
pattern,
with them will be different.
Yes.
You cannot go to a B-list designer and expect exactly that, and it would be unfair on your part to berate that designer just because आप designer हो क्या ऐसा कैसे बोल सकते हो. But the experience you have had was with an A-list designer, and now you are dealing with a B-list designer. You cannot expect exactly the same. At the same time, you cannot treat a B-list designer like you would just another tailor, you know, or a shopkeeper.
Yes.
You know, the biggest misunderstanding that a customer makes about a designer is that they classify them. They classify them into shops, or they classify them into something according to their own level of experience or intellect, which is very unfair. Which is very unfair to that poor designer, you know.
Yeah.
They are also human beings. Judge them for what they are. Judge them. Everyone judges. Judge them. But judge them for what they are. Appreciate them for what they are, and then probably they will end up giving you their 100%, you know.
Definitely.
So I think that is the biggest misunderstanding we face all the time.
Yeah, I think to put this in a nutshell, I feel for me, the biggest misunderstood part about designer is, you know, designers are always emotional. They have a lot of emotional weight.
Oh yes, yes,
in
yes.
terms of because you are designing, so the client's insecurities, client's expectation, everything is on the designer. So जो creativity आनी चाहिए somewhere down the line, because of all these things, I feel the creativity, the level of pressure that might reduce.
Yes, you said it
certain
almost.
extent.
Yes, you said it almost perfectly. Sometimes when a client comes in with specific demands, the designer sometimes rejects that no, this cannot be incorporated in this. So here the emotion part comes into play, you know. The person knows, you know, you are a consumer. You as Kena would probably not be able to visualize what happens after this is incorporated.
Yes.
But the designer by experience already knows.
agree, yeah.
So the designer says, no, we cannot include this in your design. At this time, the client labels a designer as arrogant. So here comes your misunderstanding, that please don't misunderstand the designer. The designer is speaking in your best interest.
Also, why do you think handloom still connects emotionally so well with today Indian consumers?
The same reason, emotions, I have seen handloom weavers working on their looms. Sometimes their homes are not even separate from their workplace. I don't know if, I'm sure you heard of khaddi looms. The reason why they are called khaddi looms is because in their homes, they make a small pit.
Yeah, okay.
And they sit with the hand, with their legs hanging in the pit. And the pedals of the loom are inside the pit. And they sit there and they weave. That is why it is called a khaddi loom. The loom is there on the floor of the room, and then their legs are hanging underneath the floor. So they work there. They get up in another corner of the house. They go eat. They come back and they start weaving again. They have chai. They come back. They start weaving. They take a nap, they come back, start weaving. They don't leave that room until that masterpiece is created. So imagine the emotion of the weaver associated with that creation. So this handloom, vibes pass on. His vibes are in that textile. Those vibes pass on to the designer when they handle that textile. We as designers, when we study fashion design, we have read about heritage. We have heard about how all these textiles came into existence and how they achieved the heritage status. So at every level, there is some or the other emotional story attached to it. So Indian designer, even if they wish, they will never ever be able to cut off completely from handlooms because of this emotional attachment. Because we as Indians, we have always been prided with culture, heritage, what we call sanskar. So sanskar is so associated with heritage.
Yeah.
Handloom is our heritage. We just can't not use it. It will always be a part of our life.
And people also see that as a luxury. Old money style is
luxury. Yes, luxury. It has become a symbol of luxury for the simple reason that it's a sad fact. I don't know if I should say this, but it's a sad fact that the newer generations are moving towards faster means of production rather than maintaining this emotional attachment.
Yeah.
So very few senior weavers are associated with creating that masterpiece with that expertise, and which is flawless.
Yeah.
So because of the rarity, it has now also becoming a luxury. So otherwise, very long time ago, it started being accepted as ye handloom ka hai na, to thoda to defect hoga. But these master weavers, they don't take it. थोड़ा डिफेक्ट कैसे होगा, मेरा प्रोडक्ट है. So that has become a rarity. So that rarity is now making it a luxury also, making it a statement.
Got it. Yeah. So according to your experience, what makes brand truly luxurious? Is it the price? Is it the storytelling? What is it?
In my experience, we have been taught something very different from what I am about to tell you. Okay, what I am about to tell you is out of my experience, not out of my education. But to me, what makes a brand a luxury brand is purely the perception of the client. We have had so many examples of a brand being considered, and it does not remain limited only to clothing. It goes right across products, whether it is clothing or accessories or automobiles or even food.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard of Saravana Bhavan in the south. If you go to Saravana Bhavan in the south, the price point is so smart. It is not like this Julka Bhakar that everything will be essentially cheap, but it is not premium prices.
Okay, somewhere in between.
It's just the right price.
Moderate.
When you get the food, when you look at the quantity, when you look at the quality, when you look at the presentation, and if you think of a price that, okay, this is what I want to pay for this food, it will exactly be that price, you know.
Wow.
And it is the most popular chain of food stores, I mean restaurants or whatever you may want to call it, in southern India. But it is not looked upon, in spite of such commercial success, it is not looked upon as a luxury food brand. Whereas I would not name some, but they are looked upon as luxury food brands, but when you actually eat their food, they are so unhealthy and processed foods, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just not right. I mean, it's not fit for human consumption, being so processed as they are, but yet they are luxury. So it's just the perception, the way the names behind those brands took the right decisions when they projected their brand. So number one is, yes, the perception of your consumer is what will make you a luxury or not a luxury. But yes, if you were to follow the ethical path of doing the right product, you know, if there is quality, if there is fineness, if there is attention to detail, if it is finished. So all in all, if it's a good product, you may have to learn how to persevere. You may have to learn how to have your patience, but sooner or later, you will be classified in luxury. Remember how you told me that it has become a mark of luxury, handloom has become a mark of status now. There is a reason why. Because the local craftsmen, these people living in villages, you know, those metal craft in Bastar or Dokra, if you look at their metal crafts, the artisan does not know brands. The artisan does not know hi-fi showrooms or boutiques or anything, but they are so committed to their craft. If you look at the Jat and Sufi, Jat and Suf embroideries of Kutch, you know, they count the number of yarns before piercing the needle and taking a stitch. You should look at Jat and Suf. Jat is where they count yarns. Suf is more or less like Himachali embroidery of Dorukha. It's satin stitch. But if you look at this embroidery, the unwavering commitment of the craftsman is so high. Their products are luxury. They don't know it and they don't care. Their commitment is not to luxury. Their commitment is to their craft. Their commitment is to their product. So yes, if the young designer keeps focused and keeps the commitment to the product alive, sooner or later, his product will be classified as luxury. So yeah, that is the second biggest, the product quality is the second biggest success factor in luxury, because the first factor may change anytime. The perception of the people of your brand will change when there is someone else.
Definitely,
but the quality of product, if it remains unwavering, will never change. Then this will become the number one factor and the first factor will become number two. You know, prices, yes, I mean, it is, I'm not very happy in admitting this, but it's a sad fact. Anything that is expensive, you start thinking of that as a luxury. But, you know, we just need, it's very easy to change this perception. See, what should be luxury is what is rare. And it should be expensive because it is rare, not the other way around, you know. So, well, don't think about luxury as expensive. Think about luxury as, okay, this is limited edition and that is why it is luxury. And that is why it is expensive. You know?
That's a good way of looking at it. What makes Indian designer globally relevant today?
One word for that would be versatility. You know, if you look at Indian designers' work, the same designer will be able to design in such a wide variety of categories. The same designer will be able to make casual wear also, bridal wear also, formal wear also, low price products, high value products, handcrafted products to fast producible products. The Indian designer, I believe, is so much more versatile than any other designer anywhere. When we were students of fashion, we were constantly taught the importance of signature. That you know, this style is Jean Paul Gaultier, or Tommy Hilfiger has this signature element, or Alexander McQueen is identified with so and so. So as students, we are constantly told that the designers have signature. What they are actually trying to tell you is that you as a designer should have an individual expression. They are not asking you to limit yourself to just one category or just one product. So all successful Indian designers, all relevant Indian designers are successful and relevant because they did not subscribe to this signature craziness. They subscribed to versatility and having individual expression. So this is a rare combination, that in spite of having individual expression, they provide diversity in their products. I think that is what makes Indian designers very relevant globally.
Indian designers have their own identity. And now we don't adapt, like we are very good at adapting rather than, yahan se leke yahan utha diya. Now I don't think that is very much seen.
Both your points are not entirely true. Not entirely true. They are a fact, yes, but there are things which come attached to that. One thing, we were always globally known, but the thing is, the world was not so connected, the world was not so homogeneous once upon a time as it is now. Now we are opening up our mind, we are accepting, we are, instead of being exclusive, we are all becoming very inclusive. The second part of what you just said, that adopting, well,
Imitating,
you are so nice, you are so sweet. That was beautifully saying that whether the designers are copying now or not. But no, you should say that, because that's the reason why I said that it's not entirely true, because we still do have this pollution to a very great extent. The good part is that the younger designer has this self-respect. They have this measured ego about their work. They have ownership over their work. If Kena has designed something, Kena would not want to copy someone, because she wants to own that. She wants to go out and say, this is my design. And for that reason, that designer does not copy other designers' work, because then what are you? You are a sellout, You are a replicator. You have reduced yourself to a tailor because, well, you saw a picture and you did exactly that. Then how are you a designer? How are you a creator? How are you an artist? What right even do you have to speak about anything? The young designer does not want to lose that privilege. They don't want to be marked as, plagiarists or something like that. They want to own their work. They want their identity. They want their name to be taken with pride. So they don't copy. But that would not be saying that copying does not happen.
I agree.
There is always something wrong in every industry. The moment we put out our designs on any platform, even before our designs start making waves, there are replicas available, which is really sad. But
there's nothing we can do about it, right?
Yeah, we have agreed to be a part of this ecosystem. What can we do about it?
Yes, definitely. So what is the hardest part? Is it like building the product or building the trust of the consumer?
Both. I would not say one is the harder than the other, because the hardship in both processes is different kind of hardship. When it comes to building a product, the hardships are more internal and interpersonal with your resources. That I'm building a product, so at the back of my mind I have an image, I have an inspiration, I have a process, I have a method, I have it all charted out, that this is what I will do. First, so and so inspires me, this inspiration I will translate in this manner, so the surface of my creation will be like this will be the color story. I have it all in the back of my mind.
Right.
But You have to make room somewhere, it will be lost in translation.
Yeah.
But that's okay. So that is one kind of hardship. So when your final product comes out, you have gone through a lot of hardship. At the same time, when it comes to building a customer trust, that calls for another kind of internal and interpersonal hardship, because internally I have to work like an entrepreneur. There is a certain amount of turnover I have to make. There is a certain number of orders I will have to take. At the same time, I cannot lie to my customer, not in terms of anything. Just to get that order, the internal turmoil is, yaar, ye order ki zarurat hai. But the interpersonal conversation cannot be कि order की जरूरत है तो मैं कुछ भी कर दूंगा.
Yeah.
Hundreds of samples ready to show them that, look, if this is what I can do, then your outfit is what I can do.
Yeah.
So I believe that both of these hardships are equivalent, and they live together. This one hardship will make the other life easy, and the other hardship will make this easy.
Right. So what exactly are clients paying when they are paying for the creativity?
Honestly, there have been clients who have asked me कि आप इसका 10,000 रुपया ले रहे हो तो इसमें 10,000 रुपये जैसा है क्या? So I am at a loss of words to tell my client why this is 10,000 rupees. Although we follow a process, why this product should be 10,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees or a lakh of rupees. There is a process by which the cost is reached.
Okay.
And yet it becomes difficult for me to talk about it. So when I have to answer what is the client paying for, again it becomes a very difficult question for me to answer, because sometimes I also wonder कि यार शादी में पहनने का है, 4 घंटे में शादी खत्म हो जाएगी, उसके लिए 2.5 लाख रुपया दे रहा है यार, ये किस बात के इतने पैसे खर्च कर रहा है ना, ठीक है कर रहा है. So well, what exactly they are paying for is
I think it's
okay, let me tell you what I feel about it, okay, rather than, I may be wrong also.
Yeah,
because I'm answering for someone else, what is going on in a client's mind. But I think what they are paying for is the assurance, the satisfaction that they have that now my requirement is in good hands, this sense of relief.
Yeah.
That वो ऐसा नहीं सोचते. They don't think okay, I'm giving so much money. When an agreement is finally reached and the client trusts me with their designs, it does not happen because they are so highly impressed with my presentation or anything. No, it happens because they like the vibes, and through the vibes they start feeling that yes, now my job is in good hands. And I think they don't mind giving that money for that assurance, कि okay, they don't think कि लाख रुपया दे रहा हूं तो इतना तो करके देना पड़ेगा ना. No. They start thinking that okay, if he's charging me a lakh of rupees, this person will put in effort to live up to that lakh of rupees.
Definitely, yeah.
I think, or I like to think that that's what the clients are paying for.
I also think that it is your expertise, it is your intricate detailing to the details that you bring to the table.
Oh yes.
And the process, which is very tedious, because
Exactly.
I know if you are making a bridal lehenga, there's a lot of process that goes.
Yes. So sometimes we have to tell this client this,
Yes.
कि it's a process, like you said. When you have come and when you have placed an order, I may have promised you a certain color story.
Yeah.
I may have promised that as a highlight color I'll use blue, but when I start working on it, the blue kind of looks very garish or out of place considering other colors.
Yeah.
Then that becomes my call, that becomes my onus, that becomes my responsibility, whether to do the blue because I have promised you blue, or look at the bigger picture, take the risk, not do the blue, and then tell you that look, I changed it because it was my responsibility,
Right.
So sometimes we have to tell the client this, that look, I will do this, and they appreciate it. This builds their trust.
Yes.
Okay, if a person says that the person will take a call, how much would that person be confident about their decisions and about their visualization and about what is happening. Okay, they start feeling that acha matlab this person will supervise and overlook each and every detail. So yes, like you said, that there is so much detail that goes into it. Everything is, if not constantly supervised, at least inspected at regular intervals, to live up to my expectations, number one, and then my client's expectations. After it passes my exam, it has to pass another exam.
Agreed.
That way.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a big deal.
Yes. The next segment that I want to cover is for somebody who wants to start their own fashion label, right? So if somebody is very talented with the design but does not have the capital, to start off with, so what advice would you give? Where should they start with?
That's okay. If you're really talented, if you really know your product, if you really know your ability, then not having a capital is not a problem. See, even we started like that. Like, I don't come from a very affluent or very rich background, but I found someone who would support my vision. Yeah. So my suggestion to someone who wants to start a label but still has limited resources would be, just follow your dream anyway, but do it honestly, and do it methodically. You can't see what most people do is they jump towards getting orders कि इससे पैसे आएंगे तो मैं आगे काम करूंगी. Instead of doing that, what you should do is put together a small capsule collection, make a presentation. If you are truly talented, sometimes one is not, but they think they are. But if you are truly talented, that collection will showcase your talent, and there are resources, there are people who would love to back you if you are truly talented.
Yes.
And then finding money will not be a problem. There are always people. We all watch shows where people lend out money and things like that. So that's well a very glamorous show and all, but other than that, people who don't really want so much glam shlam are also around in the society who would support an upcoming talent. So limited resources are not a problem.
Even I feel meanwhile they can work on their skills,
Exactly.
They can enhance, meet people, take references from other places and then start building.
Yes, like remember one of your first questions where you said that what is the biggest lie they believe in? This is where that question comes into picture, that everyone who is young, who is really talented, starts believing in a lie that unless I start selling my designs really fast, unless I float my product in the market very soon, I will not get any recognition, I will not get any cognizance. But be patient. Don't just jump into orders, don't just jump into being commercially successful. Remain true to your talent. I know younger designers who faced such adversities when it came to sustainable design, or when it came to high fashion, haute couture, art to wear kind of designs. Everyone was shouting at them that अरे ये क्या कर रही है, ये तो कौन पहनेगा, अरे इसका तो कोई future नहीं है. They stuck by it, and now some of them is settled in New York, somebody is in London, somebody is in Milan, and on international platforms their work is being appreciated. And now I'm like, all the detractors, look at what you did to this poor girl when she was trying, अगर पैसा नहीं है, don't worry, remain true to your talent, पैसा आ जाएगा.
Like you rightly mentioned about sustainability, right? So can fashion be truly sustainable today, or it is just a marketing word?
Of course it can be sustainable. Why not? I think any business can be sustainable. But see, the other part of your question, is it just a marketing
word?
That is also not completely baseless, yes, a lot of labels, a lot of industries are using it just to sound, at par with what the current trend is. But fashion can be truly sustainable if you define your own way of sustainable. See, the problem with us Indian manufacturers or designers, or just Indians, trouble with Indians is we blindly follow and accept whatever the West tells us. So the definition of sustainability which is broadly being followed is something that the West has defined as per their convenience.
Right.
They started calling something sustainable and did not care to explain why. They did not care to explain why they have reached this conclusion. Like, if you are constantly talking about wearing only organic fibers as being sustainable, or wearing only natural fibers as being sustainable, on one hand you are talking about deforestation, on one hand we have a problem of urbanization. Cities are encroaching upon forests, cities are encroaching upon farmlands. If you wear only naturally produced fibers, do the people who are promoting sustainability, do they have the numbers? What is the square miles of land which is right to grow cotton? If the world one day decides, okay, we will not wear anything but cotton, are you prepared to grow that amount of cotton? Is that amount of cotton even producible? If everyone started wearing only cotton or only natural fibers, okay, we will not use acrylic, we will not use polyester. Acrylic is a replacement for wool. Okay. How many sheep are you going to shear to meet the wool demand of the world if you don't use acrylic? I'm not promoting acrylic here, or I'm not pushing polyester upon people. What I'm saying is, slow down. Take into consideration every possible outcome of something you are being so jingoistic about. You just heard the word sustainability and you are joining all the morchas for sustainability. But do you even know? See, I read a recent article which said that after agriculture, textile industry is the highest employer in India. So, if we are talking about only cottons and only natural fibers, and you are not going to produce any other fiber, do you imagine what is the rate of unemployment there will be? So who is going to sustain those families then? People who are producing other synthetic fibers. Do you have an option for those synthetic fibers? The job that synthetic fibers are doing for you. Do you have a replacement for that when you are talking about sustainability? So don't just jump the bandwagon. Yes, fashion can be sustainable. Like you must have heard of so many brands who are making their products now. 40% products are made out of ocean plastic. There are roads which are being built out of recycling plastic bottles.
Right. A
very well-known jeans denim brand is now using fibers which are made out of recycled plastic bottles. So yes, fashion can be sustainable. But first, come to your definition of sustainability. Don't just jump the Western bandwagon.
When it comes to designing a collection, right? So how important it is, to go with the storytelling part rather than only focusing on the silhouettes?
I would give it, say, a 60-40 weightage. 60% has to be storytelling, because like you have covered in your initial questions, that people like an emotional attachment with the designs. So that comes by storytelling. And 40% we still have to take into consideration the silhouette, because of the variety of body types that are in India. The India has the greatest diversity in body types and sellability of products. So we can't always ignore the silhouettes. We have to give a whopping 40% to silhouettes also in a collection.
Right. And is it because like the storytelling matters because it depicts that this piece belongs to this designer? For example, prints are very, it's very, you can understand from the prints, you can recall that it can be of this designer. Is it because of that also storytelling plays a very important role?
It may be, but I think it will change from person to person. Okay. For someone like us, storytelling would become very important, because we like that to come across, that where do these designs come from?
Right.
Why is this design like it is? We would like a person to know, because then that person gets a part of us.
Yeah.
Our emotion. Why are we emotionally attached to it? So that is why storytelling is important to us. But like you said, for someone, storytelling may be important because a certain kind of texture or color is their identity.
Yes.
So that may be, but yeah.
What is that one hardest business lesson that, fashion school don't teach?
Failure.
Failure, they don't
Yes.
teach.
No, in a
You have been a NIFT pass out, right?
yes. So in a way, they do teach failure. So my saying that they don't teach would not be completely right. They do teach you failure. It's the inability for the student to understand that, look, if I got a redo in a certain assignment, it's an opportunity. I have not failed, but the teacher wants me to do better.
Yeah.
So this could also be looked upon as a learning lesson, that when you are in the market, there will be no redos.
Yeah.
If you have goofed up, you have failed, and you will fail. Not 100% your orders will be successes. Not 100% clients will convert.
Yeah.
You have spent 3 hours to a client explaining your designs, very passionately, why each design is so special. The client may not place an order. You cannot be heartbroken about that,
Yeah, definitely.
So in a way, the school does teach something like this. Okay? You have put your heart and soul in this design, but the teacher gave you a redo. और you had to repeat a semester, and you are all devastated. ये मेरे साथ क्यों हो गया? मैंने तो इतनी मेहनत की थी. हाँ बेटा, but failure is a part of life.
Yeah.
You fail to learn that. So yeah, failure is one hard fact which the students don't really learn at school.
Right. Also, when we talk about fashion shows, right, lot of designers create larger than life designs, which is not wearable, when it comes to work or any occasions. So, like, what is the connection here?
Thank you so much for bringing this up. The thing is, every designer wants to express. They want to convey the concept. They want to translate an inspiration into variability, but they also want to show exactly what the inspiration was. So the larger than life designs which you're talking about is a projection of their inspiration in its purest form.
Oh.
So people get to know, okay, this is the art, and this art then later got converted to this wearable design. So they can see the connection. If you look at any designer's designs, you will see a connection between the wearable designs and the larger than life designs.
Right.
So they have to make the wearable designs because they have to be commercially relevant, but the artist in a designer compels them to make this larger than life. So because this is art, they all want to do that.
Wow. Now I understood the real reason, because I was not understanding why when there is no commerciality to that.
All emotional. They want to come across that, look, this is what inspired us. That's all.
Okay. The next segment that I would like to cover is the wedding wardrobe confession, right? So, should the wedding outfit reflect the personality or should reflect the occasion?
We can't not reflect the personality. No matter what you do, your personality in some amount will be revealed in your dressing. But what I believe is that you should definitely dress up for the occasion, because that is the need of the moment. See, you will have 1,000 opportunities to showcase your personality, but that wedding is that one special day in your life where there is so much involved. There is emotions, there is culture, there is tradition, there is the grandeur, there is photography, making photo and video stories. So you should relax personality for the timing and become that character who is a part of this big dream, the wedding dream, and become a character in that dream. Dress up for the occasion, and then personality to hoti rahegi zindagi bhar.
Yeah, because I always face this problem because I am neither underdressed or overdressed. So when it comes to glam, I have to think, because that is not my personality.
No, just
so it becomes very difficult.
No, trust your designer. This is what I face with every client also. When I suggest something to a client, they are like, "Nahi, I am not this. I like blingy things," and I'm like, "Yes, we will do blingy things for another occasion. This occasion doesn't call for bling." So, but that's not my personality. And I said, "Yes, don't be personality all the time. The occasion has a story. Be a part of a bigger story, sometimes."
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. According to you, what is that one thing that every bride should keep in mind, while starting with her wedding shopping journey?
Zero.
Nothing.
Yes, I would strongly recommend start your wedding shopping journey with nothing in your mind. I'll tell you why. Because there is thousand offerings out there in the market for you, and you are constantly fed with information which you probably don't even know as true. So if this girl comes with preconceived ideas, one thing I have to know, this has to happen, chances are she may be disappointed. But if she enters wedding shopping with an open mind, if she's lucky and goes to the right place, that open mind will help her. And she'll absorb कि okay, ये भी अच्छा हो सकता है, वो भी अच्छा हो सकता है.
Yeah.
So don't go with preconceived notions.
According to you, should a bride opt for timeless pieces or trendy pieces?
There are a lot of things come together to make an outfit. There is color, there is embroidery, there is styling, silhouette, all of it.
Right.
So I strongly believe that a bridal outfit should be a good balance of timelessness and trendiness. I'll tell you why. Timelessness, because you can't just wear one outfit once and then throw it away. So if it's a timeless outfit, you would probably style it differently and use it again.
Yeah.
Trendy, because it's going to be photo memories.
Yes.
When you show your children and your grandchildren your pictures, you would want them to look at when I got married, this was the trend and I did this,
Yes.
So it should be trendy. You choose your elements, whether you want to follow the color trend, whether you want to follow the silhouette trend, what elements of trendiness you want to take, and what elements of classic look you want to take. Bring them together. Have your own outfit. That is where your designer will help you,
Yes.
Instead of deciding for yourself, going to a store and buying something off the shelf, if you go to a designer will be able to help you do this. Take these elements from a classic outfit. This is what is currently trending. Bring it together. This is my signature in it. This is your aspiration in it. And you have something which is exclusively yours,
Yeah. A beautiful amalgamation of timeless and trendy.
Exactly.
Right? Very nice. Very sharp way of putting it.
Thank you.
Because you talked about photography also, right? So वो बता दो आप कि कौन से colors generally अच्छे लगते हैं, pictures में.
It's very simple actually. If you have a day function,
Right.
pastels would make more sense because pastels come out really beautiful in daylight, and because the pastels will be polluted if there is artificial lighting. So in daylight, choose pastels. If you choose deeper, darker and more vibrant shades for evening wear and in darker environments, that would come out beautifully because these shades are enhanced by artificial lighting. So just divide color stories like this.
Right.
But there is also one more very important aspect you need to consider. Most of the times what happens is clients choose a certain color story for decor. Just make sure that your garment color story
not matching.
And yes, and most of the time
Complementing rather than clashing. Yeah.
They make two mistakes. Either they make it matching or they make it contrasting. Neither of them gives good pictures.
Right.
If you want good pictures, have a complementing color story. So if you've already chosen ivory and gold for your ambience, then ivory and gold are definitely no for your clothing,
Yeah.
That's an example I'm giving you. Similarly for evening wear.
Right.
Black is this universal color for everyone for evenings, but the problem that happens is that the pictures don't come out well. It's already dark. The artificial light shines on ambience and clothes equally.
Right.
So, you lose. You don't come out really as beautiful as you want to. On the contrary, if you had a deep shade, a pseudo black, then you would come out beautifully because your
Even
color
navy
will
blue, right?
even navy blue,
burgundy,
anything,
navy blue, green.
burgundy, navy blue, anything that has this deep tone to it, it will come out so beautifully. Because the artificial light will enhance it and not the background. So,
And what's your say on metallic colors? Like gold is there. People wear silvers also, like during the night time.
Sure. Why not? They are a classic now. Metallic colors for fabrics, golds and silvers. They used to be the thing in the 1920s and all. They made a comeback. They went away, and now this coming and going, they have made it a classic. If you have the right kind of body and the right kind of occasion to wear that, I think it would be amazing to wear metallic colors.
Yes.
They will never go out of fashion.
Yeah. And what mistakes do groom make when it comes to their wedding outfits?
Poor things. The biggest, well, it's not really actually their mistake, but you know how they tend to match with what the bride is going to wear?
Oh, matchy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the biggest mistake is to adopt exactly. So suppose you are wearing this blue stripes and your groom also ends up wearing the same fabric, same color, same stripes.
Yes.
Well, you know, that's a big mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, what they must do is they must compliment the bride. It is surprising that if the bride is all red
Yeah.
and the groom is only pastels, even that could look very beautiful, you know.
I can't agree more. Yeah.
It just takes, just trust your designer. The designer knows how to make them look coordinated and such that the pictures come out well. They will do it for you.
Yes.
But don't make this mistake कि बस इसका ये fabric का है ना, तो ये fabric में से मेरा भी बना दो. No. That's the biggest mistake. So,
And also sherwani, like grooms always opt for sherwani. So what other options can they also explore when it comes to their wedding outfits?
any options. I mean, if you look at it, this trend of sherwani is not very old. It is less than 20 years old. 20 years ago, grooms would wear anything from a kurta to a western business suit to something that they used to call a safari suit. It's a shirt and a trouser made out of the same fabric. Grooms would wear a whole lot of variety of clothing as the groom's outfit. Only since the past 20-25 years or so, sherwani has become the norm core.
Yeah.
It is because just aspirations. Certain celebrities, they were shown wearing sherwanis during their weddings in movies, that you know how our culture is.
Yeah. Even the bangalas and everything is now.
Yeah. There are such, men have so many styles. The bangalas, the two-piece bangalas with a trouser, the three-piece bangalas. You have modified something that is popularly called the Indo-Western thing. You know, like you had just mentioned in a previous question, whether to choose a contemporary or a classic.
Yes.
What they can do is they can keep the classic sherwani in mind, but then modify it to a more contemporary styling. The designers are full of options as long as the grooms are willing to change from the sherwani and be brave enough to try something new.
Yes.
Trust your designer. If the designer tells you this is going to look good on you, be brave, try it, then you can break away from the sherwani. There is no real reason that you have to wear the sherwani.
Yeah, I completely agree. You should experiment. That is what makes it fashionable.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
And what are some investments, like basic investments, should bride and groom do? Are there any?
In terms of garments, in terms of fashion?
In terms of fashion.
I think they should invest in at least 2 or 3 ensembles which are modifiable, as in just now I mentioned, yes, right. So just now I mentioned 2-piece and 3-piece outfits, you know. So instead of wearing just one sherwani, if you were to make an ensemble which would cost you marginally more than a sherwani, but it is 2 pieces, then you can use them both separately.
Yes.
And later you could, you know, combine it with other outfits and look entirely different. So I think they should invest in some garments which are modifiable and some garments which are classics, which will never go out of fashion, which will always remain there, and you know, as memories also and utility also. So they're both covered when you have classic.
Right. And lastly, now I have a rapid fire for you.
Oh, rapid fire?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So are you excited?
I am a little nervous.
No, don't be. So the first is, how can someone restyle a sari in a modern way?
You should not. Sari is a classic. Keep it a sari, and it is invaluable. Hand it down. The mother's sari will be invaluable for a daughter. Don't restyle it.
But she can drape it unconventionally.
That way, yes.
That way.
Keep changing the way you drape it. Combine it with some other outfit.
Maybe a crop top and then
crop top, a jacket, nicely. Long jacket, short jacket,
blazers,
corset. Yes. Do that, but don't cut up the sari.
No. Restyle in wearing.
Yeah.
In terms of wearing. The next one is one go-to outfit that works for every festive occasion.
For women, I would say an anarkali. And for men, I would say a bandgala jacket. These two can be styled so very differently. Every time you wear it, you will be surprised.
Okay, great. How can men elevate their sherwani or kurta look instantly?
A stole. If they wear a stole, it just multiplies the elegance of their outfit. One may think, how can a bandgala jacket have a stole? But trust me, a bandgala jacket and a stole work beautifully together. When you need it, ask me, I'll show you how.
Okay, I was thinking of brooch. But yeah, this is a good
Well,
one.
if the only problem with a brooch is not everyone is a jewelry person.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes, but stole works for everyone. Nobody hates a stole.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree. What is the biggest design turn off for you? Number 1 is over designing. Number 2 is poor fit. Number 3 is bad color pairing. And number 4 is lack of story.
Color pairing thing.
Color.
If it's an ensemble, the top and bottom, if they don't fall in a color story of some kind, it just ruins it. It can be beautifully fitted, immaculately tailored, but because the first thing you see is color, right?
Exactly.
So it's a turn off.
Yeah, definitely. And if you could solve one fashion problem in the world today, what would it be?
Over consumption. I mean, we are just we have forgotten the difference between fashion and apparels. There are garments which you wear every day, and then there is fashion, which is means of your expression. People are consuming garments like anything and discarding garments like anything. Earth is in a serious problem if this continues. We need to slow down.
Yeah, right. No, but thank you so much for being so unfiltered. And I really love the conversation that we had.
Thank you.